Hi everyone, this is Mary. You're on Mary Reads. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a Christmas vlog. I was not sure what I want to read during the Christmas vlog and during the end of December in general, because I feel like a lot of Christmas books are very much similar to one another. It's some cute bookstore or a cozy hotel or a very nice tea house. We have a lot of hot cocoa and peppermint and cookies and wonders and magic. So I thought that everything's pretty much the same. So this year I want to do something different. And then I remembered that last year, during the end of December and then the beginning of January, I was rereading Harry Potter. And I really liked that. I really enjoyed reading the whole series in the span of a couple of weeks. It's something easy to read. It's something still magical, something that lets me relax. So I decided that it can be a small tradition on this channel. And that's why for this year, I picked the Magisterium series. It has 5 books. I've talked about them already, but let me just show them to you one more time. Here they all are. And all of these books are about a boy. And I've started reading the first book already, so let me show you this one. So I'm halfway through the book. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to film a lot because we came to New Jersey to celebrate Christmas, and we've been just running around buying food, finishing decorating, seeing some friends and relatives, and I was only able to pick up the camera and start filming today. So I started reading the book on Thursday. Today's Sunday, December 22nd. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read the whole series in the span of the next 2 days, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try because the series does read very, very fast. And I'm halfway through the first book. Let me just tell you a little bit about what I've noticed, what I like, what I don't like. This series is written by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. I'm sure you've heard these names before. They're big in this fantasy YA books. And they decided to get together and write a series about this guy. His name is Callum. He was born in a magical family, so his parents were both magicians, and here they're called mages. And the opening scene is his dad walking up a snowy mountain, hoping that something didn't happen. He gets into this cave and he sees that what he was scared of actually happened. There are a lot of bodies, and one of those bodies is his wife. And unfortunately, she passed away, and did not just pass away, she died in a battle. It was like a third magical war or something like that. And he just had a son. So he's looking for his son, and he realizes that his son is alive. So he takes his son, he brings him to his wife to say, I'm going to take care of him. And this is when he sees that his wife, while she was dying, was able to carve 3 words, kill this child. And of course, there's an intrigue. What happened? Why would a mother ever say something like that? And we fast forward to 12 years later. He is raising his son as a regular boy. He does not practice magic. He does not want his son to practice magic, but they go to these magical trials to see if he's going to be accepted to this magical school, Magisterium, that he used to go to when he was a kid. And an interesting thing about that I do not really understand, if you did not want your son to be connected to magic, why would you bring him to these trials? And the whole point of selecting these kids with magical abilities and teaching them is because they cannot control their magic. Some things just start happening, like they can set something on fire. Some kids brought chaos to towns, to other families, like they themselves died in these accidents. They killed other people in these accidents. So they need to learn how to control their magic. And in that case, yes, you have to go through the trial. But the universe whole here is that his master, they call them masters, they choose apprentices for themselves, and our main character's master chose 3 apprentices, among them this boy. The boy doesn't want to study in that school. His dad told him all of these bad things about this school. He told him that you should do horribly on the tests, you should drop out of school if you get into the school. He gets into the school, but he wants to drop out. He wants to do so horribly that he will be let go. And his master tells him, you need to go through the first year. After the first year, you can leave if you want to. By then, you will be able to control your magic. But if you leave now, we will have to bind your magic. That means that you will forget that you are a magician. You will feel like there is something missing in your life, but you will never understand what it is. And here, what I don't understand is if his father didn't want his son to study in that school, why don't you just keep your son at home? You don't even go to the trials, and then you wait until these masters come and bind his magic, because they would bind his magic no matter what, if he never went to school. So why don't they do that? And even if they did bind his magic and he forgot about it, couldn't his father tell him that he's a magician and that it was done for his own sake? Like, I don't really understand that. And this is where a lot of these holes in this huge canvas of this universe begin to be seen through. Like, they're big. I don't like them. One of those things is that the school is in the caves. It's underground. So how come our 12-year-old kids not getting any sun, any vitamin D? I mean, it's kind of a crazy question if you think about it. They're like, oh, they're magicians and stuff. But they are regular people. They still eat, they still sleep, they still get tired. So it looks like they need all these vitamins and stuff. So how come do they live underground and nothing happens to them? And another thing is they eat very weird things. So in the beginning, when they're having their first dinner, they're doing it in their room, not in the big dining room of the school. And these guys' master brings food to them. So he brings these bologna sandwiches. And they're like, oh, really, bologna sandwiches? We haven't eaten all day. We really want something more than that. And he says, okay, just think about your favorite foods. And they start thinking, and these bologna sandwiches started turning into their favorite foods. So he says, this is how the magic works. You can't create food out of thin air, but if you have some food, you can transform it into the other food. So you can transform something into another thing if it has the same qualities. Like, it's still food, it's still nutritious, so you can turn it into something else. And they turn it into like mac and cheese for one guy, then sushi for another one, then something like steak for the third one. And then when they go to the actual dining room, the food system is different. Now suddenly they eat this weird moss and these weird mushrooms that just taste like different foods. Like mushrooms taste like steak today and like chicken tomorrow, and this moss tastes like roasted potatoes today, and then like pasta with meatballs the next day. But then again, explain to me, where do all the vitamins go? Where do all the calories go? How does it matter what the food tastes like if it doesn't have any of those nutritious qualities? And then in general, why do you need two different sets of magic to create food? Why don't you just use the same one you used the first time? So it's kind of weird to me. And then another thing that I also really don't like is that you have 9 different masters who choose their apprentices, and they're the ones who get to teach them. So each of them has their own program, and it looks like one of the masters has the best reputation. His students are consistently showing the best results. So why do other masters not take his program and teach their kids the same? And don't you think that there should be some structure in this thing? You have 12-year-old kids who have uncontrollable magic. Why don't you just teach them the same ways to control it? Isn't it supposed to be more structured like it was in Hogwarts? So I don't really understand that. But at the same time, I'm willing to give this series a chance because I've heard good reviews about it, and also I think the magic itself is very interesting. It's connected to elements: water, fire, air, and earth, and then there is chaos. And I think our main character will end up being a chaos magician. So if I understand it correctly, at some point you will show that you are a certain magician, like a magician of water or a magician of fire or a magician of air. And the most important ones are the magicians of chaos. they're the strongest one, but they're also the most dangerous ones. So there's this bad guy. We have like this universe's Voldemort. He's called the enemy of death, and he's a chaos magician, and nobody can defeat him because the chaos magician can only be defeated by another chaos magician. Yes, these other magicians can stop him for a while, but they will never be able to defeat him fully. And I have a feeling that our main character will end up being a chaos magician and he will defeat that bad magician. I think it's interesting. The system is very interesting, and maybe some of the plot holes that I see now will be explained in further books, but we will see. I'm giving this book a try. I'm hoping to be able to read the whole series by the end of December, so we'll see how far I'm going to be able to get during this Vlogmas. But let me tell you a little bit about the plans for today. So first of all, we are gonna go to see some of our friends, and I'm not sure I will be able to film there, but I will at least show you the snow. We got the first snow of this year, and I'm super excited about it. I'm just psyched, and I'm hoping that it will stay until Christmas. It's beautiful out, so I'll show you. And then we are gonna decorate the Christmas tree. Let me rephrase it. We're going to finish decorating the Christmas tree because we started in the end of November for Thanksgiving, and now we just need to finish it. So my husband and I are going to put a couple more toys, and I'll show you how it turns out. My mother-in-law usually has 2 Christmas trees, one in the family room and another one in the hall. So once you enter the house, the first thing you see is the Christmas tree. So since we are hosting Christmas this year, we are doing this so that the guests also see the Christmas tree and it's pretty. So I'm responsible for the Christmas tree in the hall. And then we want to watch Home Alone and make some hot cocoa. So I'll show you the movie, I'll show you the Christmas tree in the hall and in the family room, and I'm hoping that we'll have a nice day together. Hello, it's Monday evening and I'm only filming at 5 p.m. because I was working all day and I had a chance to read a little bit during my lunch break, so I finished the book, and I have to say that a couple things happened that I didn't expect at all. And a couple things that I mentioned in the first day of filming when I just started the book, I understood what happened, like they were explained, so I have less questions now. And also, there were a couple of things that I didn't expect at all. And I don't want to talk about them now, just not to spoil anything to you if you want to read this series. But it's becoming very interesting, and it ends on kind of a cliffhanger. In the end, Callum has to choose if he wants to stay a magician or not. And there are more reasons for that, to make that choice than just him not wanting to stay in the magic school. So it's a very interesting dilemma that he has. And I was very interested in what's going to happen next. So I'm going to start the Copper Gauntlet right now. Hopefully I'll be able to finish the book today. I'll try really hard. We wanted to watch The Holdovers tonight, and that's a pretty long movie, so we'll see if I have time to finish the book. But I have no idea what's going to happen here. I think I know who all of these 4 people are. I know who this dog is, which is kind of exciting. Now I understand a little bit more about the covers. They make more sense to me. I have no idea what this part is going to be about, but I'm excited to start, and hopefully I will finish tonight. And a little bit more about the Iron Trial. In this book, the three apprentices, our three main characters, face the enemy for the first time, and it's not as they suspected, like it didn't happen as they suspected. A couple people who ended up siding with the enemy of death were not the ones that I expected, so we have this kind of a spy thing going on, which I really much enjoyed because, again, I did not expect a lot of things. I kept thinking like, oh, maybe Callum is the chaos mage, or maybe he is the son of the enemy of death. I was completely wrong with all of my ideas, which I absolutely love, because if you know what's going to happen in a book, it gets boring. And I was very worried that it's going to happen, and the last 4 books I'll be reading kind of knowing what's going to happen, where we're going, but now I have no idea, and I wish I could tell you more, but I really don't want to spoil anything. So if you're interested, definitely try the series. I'll let you know once I start reading the second book. Hopefully I enjoy it as much and I get even more questions answered. Hi everyone, it's afternoon of December 24th. We are about to start the Christmas party, and I have like 5 minutes before I need to get changed and go downstairs, so I wanted to quickly tell you about the second book. I'm halfway through and it's been very interesting. I was sitting on the bathroom floor last night reading because everybody went to bed. I didn't want to keep the light on. So I was sitting in the bathroom reading the book, and a part of me wanted to stay up all night to finish it. But then I realized that today is going to be a big day and I need to go to bed. So I read half. And in this part, Callum is going on a mission with his friends to find this gauntlet. And remember I said that the chaos magician, the bad one, the enemy of death, can only be killed by another chaos magician. And this gauntlet is the artifact that killed the good chaos magician who was trying to fight the enemy of death in the war, and somebody stole it. And everybody, of course, thinks that this is because the enemy of death is back. And since the school, the Magisterium, just found another chaos magician, they think that the bad guys, the enemy of death and his army, are trying to kill this magician while he's still a young kid, so that the good side cannot win the war. And there is a suspicion that arises at one point that Callum's father stole this gauntlet. And so Callum wants to prove that his dad is innocent, and him and his friends go on this mission to find his dad, let him know that he's being looked for, and that he needs to return the gauntlet to where it was if he actually did steal it. And if he didn't steal it, they need to find it and restore it. It's very interesting. I did find a couple of things that I still do not understand. For example, the master of these 3 kids that belong to his group, that are his apprentices, tells Callum that since you've gone through the first year of education, now you have to finish your studies. Even though in the first book he said that if you finish your first year, it's enough, you learn how to control your magic, and so you don't have to study. So it's a little bit weird for me, like, does he have to study, or does he not have to study? Or does he have to study because his classmates decided to continue studying. Like, how does that work? So I don't really understand that. But a lot of questions that I had in the first book got explained here, and the vitamin D topic was discussed, as I was saying, like, since they're in caves and the school is underground, like, how do kids get vitamin D and all the nutrients? So that was something that was discussed here, and so it's kind of explaining everything a little bit. The book is very interesting. I have no idea at this point what's going to happen and how it's going to end, because every time I think I know something, it just turns 180 degrees and I don't understand what's going on. So something completely new happens, and then there's this huge conflict inside of Callum, and I wish I could tell you what it is, but I don't want to spoil anything in case you want to read this book. I might do like this part with a spoiler in the end of the video where we discuss it, but for now I don't want to say anything. But it's very interesting how he has this inner trouble, inner fight, like the two parts of him are fighting and he doesn't know what he has to choose, because he just found out what's wrong with him. One thing though, I thought that his father knew what's wrong with him, because he kept giving like little hints, and he was saying something like, Callum, you don't know who you are. So it felt like, well, if Callum doesn't know who he is and his dad is telling him that, that means that his dad knows who he is. And then it looks like his dad actually didn't know and he just suspected. So I still see small like holes in the plot, but they're okay for now. I'm willing to close my eyes on them. I'll keep reading and I'll keep you updated. I'm planning on finishing the book tonight after the party ends. And yeah, hopefully I'll have time to get back online today and tell you about the end of this book. Hello everyone, it's the next day. I finished reading The Copper Gauntlet, and I just didn't have time to film yesterday because, as I said, we had a Christmas party which finished kind of late, and I was too tired to film anything. I just read and went to bed. But I wanted to tell you a little bit more about this book. So this huge secret that Callum has gets revealed, and he is worried that his life is not going to be the same because the secret is kind of crazy. But his friends stay with him and they decide that he is not evil or anything like that. So they want to stay his friends. They want to be near him. And he gets back to school. But one question that is not answered here is, somebody sent an elemental to find the kids. An elemental is a creature which is made out of a certain element. It can be fire, it can be chaos, it can be water, it can be air, it can be earth, and it has certain features. They are usually very dangerous for mages, and especially the very old ones that are imprisoned in the magic school, in the Magisterium. And one of these old elementals, one of the most old elementals that was imprisoned, is released, and he's trying, or it is trying, to kill the kids. And the kids first thought that it's the teachers who sent the elementals for them, and they thought that for some reasons the teachers wanted to kill them and get rid of them. But it turns out that there is a spy in the school who did it, and nobody knows what the spy is spying for, what he or she is trying to know and do. And I think in the next book, this is part 3, I think in this one, we're gonna focus on the spy. And just wanted to let you know that I might be appearing in this sweater. The days will be changing and I'll tell you when they change, but I'm wearing the same thing because it's freakishly cold. I've been freezing since we got here, so I might stay in the same outfit and it will just be a different day. Hello. I wanted to tell you a little bit about The Bronze Key, the 3rd book of the series. I'm about halfway done with it, and I was right. The book does talk about the spy in the school, and the beginning is very intriguing. So there's this party, and Callum and his friends are supposed to be getting medals for their bravery, and they defeated a very important enemy of all the mages. So this party was for them, it was organized for them. And on this party, Callum sees a girl, one of the older girls, and she gives him a note and says, "This is from this pretty blonde girl." And he opens it, sees that this girl, his classmate, wants to see him in some other room at this party. So he thinks, okay, she probably likes me, and we did get a couple of hints that they might have feelings to one another. So he goes to this room, and she doesn't show up, but the chandelier is falling, and it would have killed Cal if his friends didn't come into this room and saved him. So everybody is terrified because we had this huge elemental, a very old elemental that was sent to kill the kids. And now this is a second attempt. So all the teachers, of course, are terrified. They're trying to see what's going on. But a worse thing is that the girl who gave Callum the note is found dead. She was stabbed in her chest. And so obviously nobody knows who this is. And the kids are trying to figure out what's going on themselves, even though they're told by the teachers that they should be careful, that the teachers will do everything, and the kids should just keep studying. But they're trying to figure out what's going on their own. And now I'm at a part where they try to steal the key from one of the assembly women, this kind of like a minister persona. Because she's in school, she's trying to protect the kids, she is guarding all of those very old elementals, and they want to talk to those elementals. They want to see if the elementals know who came to them and who released some of them. So we'll see how it goes. And I have to say that this series was very weird, and still is, because some parts of it I think are very interesting, but others are just a little boring. It feels flat, like the whole universe feels a little bit flat. I don't feel the same way. I feel like I'm trying to compare it to Harry Potter, which probably is not the right thing to do. But comparing to Harry Potter is so much more colorful, so much more bright, so much more interesting. There's so many more connections, and the world really feels like it exists. Here, I don't know, it feels a little bit flat for me, and my interest goes in waves. I feel more interested and then less interested. So I don't feel like putting the series down and not finishing, because it's still interesting, but then some parts of it I'm reading and I realize that I've outgrown them. So I don't know if it's because we have two authors here, Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. Maybe I like one of them who writes like parts where I'm interested, and then the other one feels flat to me. I don't know. But it's just a little weird. I feel like the characters are not super developed. I don't feel connected to them. I'm still a little bit confused. I'm reading it as kind of like a fairy tale, which on one hand is fair. It is a fantasy book. But at the same time, you want to dive deep into the universe. You want to believe in this world. You want to be a part of this world. I don't want to be a part of this world. I feel weird about this world. I don't know if it's interesting enough. But I do have to say that there are very interesting and unexpected turns. So that kind of keeps me going, keeps me reading. But I don't think this is the series I would like to keep on my shelf. I'll let you know how it finishes, if I like it or not. But right now I wanted to show you the Christmas gifts, because this year they're just crazy. They're amazing. And I feel like the whole family kind of went for it, and we had so many gifts this year. Okay, so first of all, I got these amazing pajama pants with these socks, which I absolutely love. And then we also got this very cool kind of a blanket. It's super fuzzy and soft. I love that. We're going to be putting this on our couch. I also got this great perfume, which I really wanted for a very long time, but it's not cheap, so I couldn't just go and get it. But it smells amazing. It's kind of floral, slightly sweet, but not really. And it's so cool. I'm so excited about it. I was putting it on all day today, and I just can't stop thinking about it. I also got some cosmetics. It's this serum with sunscreen, and I also got a regular serum. It's like vitamin C serum, I think. I've been trying to find good cosmetics for my skin, and this is my first try, so I really hope that this company will work. I also got this adorable bag of candy with like a lot of different things, which I absolutely love. I eat sugar like there's no tomorrow. I love sweets, and so I was super happy about this bag. It's just amazing. I haven't gotten sweets for a long time, so I'm extremely happy about it. And then I also got some equipment for video taking, and it's a microphone and a new tripod, which I'm super excited about. I'm not going to show them now because they're somewhere deep in the box, but yeah, these are all the gifts, and I am so happy about all of them. Good morning, everyone. It's December 31st, and I haven't filmed for, I don't know, 3 days, 4 days. And there are a couple of reasons for that, and I'll tell you about them in a second. It will be kind of like a news section because it is a pretty big thing. But let me first tell you about the books, because now I'm on book 5. This video is taking much longer than I expected. I thought I will be able to read these books faster, but you'll soon know why it took me so long. But I'm on book 5, but I haven't finished telling you about the book 3, and I don't think I told you anything about book 4. So I think I'm gonna start talking with spoilers, because unfortunately that's the only way I can explain my feelings and emotions. So book 3 was kind of cool. We were looking for the spy, and in the end, something horrible happens. One of the 3 main characters, Aaron, one of the Cal's best friends, Cal meaning Callum, he is killed. And now, of course, everything changes, because they were just these super close friends, and now without one of them, without a chaos mage, he was a chaos mage, everything is different. And also everybody finds out Cal's huge secret, which only his friends knew before, that he has a soul of the enemy of death. The enemy of death is this biggest enemy in this book series, and I think I mentioned him before. Basically, he's a chaos mage that went very bad, and he was dying in a battle 13 years ago, and he pushed his soul into the soul of the baby, killing the child, and instead kind of growing in his body. So he killed the soul of the child. The body was fine, and Cal grew up having the soul of the enemy of death. He didn't know about that for a very long time. And then once he was told about that, of course, everything changes. He doesn't know what to do, and everybody finds out. So he's put to prison because people think that he's bad. This is how we finished book 1. And yes, this book was interesting, and I felt like, ooh, something cool is happening. Finally, the stakes are growing bigger. And I thought that book 4 should be amazing. And I started book 4, and it was interesting. There were moments when I was like, wow, this is so cool, because in this book, Cal is kidnapped by the former enemy of death's teacher, Master Joseph. And he's a bad guy. He hopes that Cal will remember his enemy of death's soul. that he will continue doing what the enemy of death was doing. But of course, Cal doesn't want to. But here, something interesting happens. It turns out that Aaron's body, the best friend who died in book 3, was preserved. And now Master Joseph says, if you can give him his life back, then you will be able to leave and you shouldn't do anything else. Like if you don't want to be the enemy of death, you don't have to. As long as we have this technology, we're going to be superior from the other side, which is the magic school, which is the assembly of mages. And then also Master Joseph says that if you try to leave, we will destroy the body and Aaron is never coming back. So the interesting thing here is that now we have a real conflict. I could actually see the conflict. Cal either has to do an evil thing and resurrect Aaron, which is obviously going against the rules of nature, which is never good, which can destroy the world of magic, or he has to support the other side, the good side, show them that he's not actually the enemy of death like they think he is, but then he's definitely losing his best friend. So we're finally having a good, strong enough conflict, because before it just felt like something weird. Yes, the enemy of death was there, but he also wasn't there, and only his like second in command and third in command, whatever, they were trying to do something, but of course they're not strong enough without the enemy of death. But the enemy of death is Callum, and he doesn't want to be the enemy of death, so it means that the enemy of death is not there. So it was kind of very weird. I didn't feel the conflict, and here I finally started feeling something. And finally Master Joseph says, okay, we now have this technology, we know what to do, we're starting the war again. And there is this battle that's about to begin. But Master Joseph dies so fast. He dies like, I don't want to say anything about his death because then I'm going to be spoiling everything, but I just feel like there could have been such a scene about that. It could have been such a big thing. And now it's just like it happened in one page. I didn't even understand anything. And the battle barely started and it finished and nothing happened. And Cal keeps losing his consciousness because he's overcome by chaos power. And it's just like, dude is always out. We miss a lot of things. Nothing really is happening. I don't understand why I'm reading these books. I'm waiting for this big, it's like, you know, when the music kind of builds up and you're waiting for this apex, you're waiting for this huge burst of melody, but it never happens. It just keeps building up. And at some point when it keeps building up and never bursts out, you're like, why am I reading this? So finishing this book, I was disappointed, but I thought that maybe something interesting will happen, because this book finishes with like an epilogue, that's the word I'm looking for. It finishes with an epilogue that shows that something is about to happen. And so we move to book 5. Problems with book 5. Everything is just weird so far. I don't know. I don't feel very engaged with the story. Callum starts having these crazy dreams, the nightmares of him being evil. And the same day Callum has a nightmare, Aaron finds this door in his head, which he thinks is the door to all of the enemy of death's memories. And then Callum says that these nightmares are recurring. But we've never heard about these nightmares before. If they started in book 1 and they weren't explained, and then finally we realized that it's the memories that are trying to come out, that would be so cool. But we've never heard about these memories before, and so they don't really mean much to me now. I don't know. I feel like the book is just... the world is not detailed enough. The books, interestingly enough, the first one was the longest, and then they just kept getting shorter and shorter. And I was comparing it to Harry Potter, where the books became longer and longer, and I realized that that means that the story is developing, the world is being complicated, something happens, something opens up, it's not as childish anymore, something is happening there. Here, I don't know. I feel like I'm not getting enough. It's an interesting story. It's an interesting conflict, but it was not explained well. I don't understand why. I'm so disappointed with the books right now and with the series. I thought that it's going to be something very interesting. I've heard good reviews about it. And now I just feel kind of lied to almost. I'm going to finish the series definitely, and I'm going to give you my overview. I don't think it's bad. I just think if you are, let's say you are 14, you've never read fantasy before, you're looking for something interesting. That's the thing you can start with, and then build on more complicated plots, better written books. That's a great start. It's a great thing to start reading a genre with. But if you've read a lot of fantasy books, if you in general read a lot and know how language works, what words work in a book better than the others, I don't think will be impressed. I definitely think that if you're older, you don't have to be 14, but let's say you are 25, like me, and you want to read something easy, something that you don't have to think about. Yeah, it could work. It could work, especially if you don't want to think about the plot too much. It's fine. See, the worst thing is when the book doesn't give you any emotions. It's the best case scenario. You love the book, it gives you great emotions. But if you get negative emotions and you have a lot to say and you're like pumping with this negativity about the book, at least you get some emotions. It was able to provoke you. This book, nothing. I think I will forget about the series pretty soon. Yeah, you can read it. It's not the worst book in its genre, but I don't think you will get a lot out of it. Let me tell you why it took me so long to finally start filming again. My husband and I are moving out of New York City in a month. We're moving to New Jersey, which is a pretty big move for us because we work in New York City. We have friends in New York City. We've lived here for the past 5 years, in my case, 10 years in my husband's case. And of course, it's a big step. We started moving our clothes because we're not going to be able to do it during the week. We will only be able to move them during the weekends, so we have to start moving the stuff out. We started moving some clothes, we started moving some books, we're taking out the kitchen supplies that we're not really going to use in the next month. So it's been very hectic. We've been back and forth from New York to New Jersey. So I didn't have a lot of time to read and film, but I will be showing you the new apartment. Hopefully the setup is going to be nicer and we'll have more space and the apartment is going to look a little bit nicer than this one does now. I'm excited, and it's a huge next chapter in our lives, and I'll keep you updated with everything that's happening. And now let me tell you a little bit about New Year's, because I'm from Russia. I grew up celebrating New Year's. We don't really celebrate Christmas that much anymore, and if some families do, it's January 7th, and the traditions are very different. But my family, as probably the most families in Russia, if not all of them, celebrate New Year's. And we have our traditions. I haven't celebrated New Year's with my family for multiple years, which is kind of upsetting because my husband's family doesn't really celebrate it as much as we do. So our New Year's is an American Christmas. As big as the Christmas is here, as big the New Year's is for Russians. And I was very upset about that because I do not feel that atmosphere. It's magical when everybody's getting ready. Everybody's in the store buying the last things for their salads. When the family gets together, when you exchange gifts. Of course, I miss it a lot. And hopefully next New Year's will be better. We're planning on celebrating it with my family. But last year we didn't celebrate it at all because I was in a bad mood. I was trying to get a job and I got rejected like 3 days before New Year's, and I was kind of still in the process of mourning, and I didn't want to do anything. So this year we are going out big. And my husband, bless his soul, just tries to do everything to make me feel better, to make me feel at home, to make this New Year's feel as close to the New Year's at home as it usually is. And there are a couple traditions that we have in Russia for New Year's. So, first of all, there's this Soviet movie. It's called The Irony of Fate or Enjoy Your Bath. I'm always forgetting the English name, but we watch it every year. It's on TV every year. It's probably the most iconic Christmas movie, New Year's movie. And it's a Soviet movie, so it's pretty old. So the tradition has been there for a long time. And I love that movie. We watch it with my husband in Russian with subtitles, and he also seems to enjoy the movie, or at least he plays very well. He plays a role of liking it very well. But we're going to be watching this movie today, and we're going to be making Russian salads along with some tuna bites and duck spring rolls. I'm very excited. I'll show you how to make the most iconic Russian salad. And we are also inviting one of our friends. Yeah, and then if we're talking about Russian traditions on New Year's in general, around 10 p.m. you sit at the table, you start dinner. At 12, the clock is ticking, so the last minute of the year, you start hearing the clock ticking, and it shows up on the TV screens, and I'm fairly confident that every channel actually does that, or not everyone maybe, but a lot of them do it. So you have a countdown, and in the last 12 beats of the clock, you make a wish, you drink champagne, and after midnight, you can start desserts. We have cakes, we have candy, we have tea, we have coffee, and then people exchange gifts, or sometimes they do it in the morning of January 1st. And then you can go out to do fireworks. So in my family, we would go to bed probably at 4 a.m. So it was a long celebration. I know that some people go to bed a little bit earlier than that, but it's definitely after midnight because you have to see the clock ticking and make a wish. It's a very fun celebration. We're definitely not doing any fireworks in New York. But we might go on a walk. We're definitely waiting for after midnight. We will probably watch either another Soviet movie or just something Christmassy, New Year's-y. We'll see, but I'm very excited, and I would like to take you along with me to show you some of my traditions. Okay, so I changed into something that I'm not scared of ruining, and I did a little bit of cleaning. You can see the moving boxes right there. And yesterday we were packing a bunch of clothes to bring back to New Jersey, and that's why our apartment was a mess. And since we're celebrating New Year's here, and since we're having people over, I decided that, well, we need to clean. So I did some cleaning, and I'll continue doing that. My husband will be home. Oh, the sun is a little weird. My husband will be home in about 20 minutes. He spent the night in New Jersey because he was bringing the clothes late in the evening. And so I'm starting on the salad now, and I'll show you the first steps of how to make it. Okay, so the first step is to put vegetables to boil. It's the potatoes and carrots. I'm taking like medium carrots and 2 pretty big potatoes because potatoes are kind of a base, I would say. There has to be a lot of potatoes. So I washed the vegetables and just putting them in a pot. You don't need to clean the skin. We'll do it later. For now, they're just boiling there. The next step, we're gonna boil some chicken breast. Mine are pretty small, so I'm gonna do 2. If you have a big one, you can just do 1. All the vegetables are ready. The chicken is ready. So I put 3 eggs to boil, and now we need to take the skin off of all the vegetables. And while I'm peeling the skin off of the vegetables, let me tell you a little bit more about Russian New Year traditions. So my husband went to grab champagne, and this is what's it for. In Russia on New Year, not everybody does that. Let me say it right away. That's kind of it always felt extreme for me. I personally have never done that before. We might try it this year. So what you should do is, in a glass of champagne, while the clock is ticking from 12 to 0, you need to write a wish on a piece of paper, burn it, and throw it in champagne, and then drink that champagne. And if you do that on time before the clock stops ticking, your wish will come true. I have never done that before. It felt a little bit like, I'm gonna drink champagne with a piece of paper in it. Obviously, it doesn't have to be just drinking ashes. Like, it can be half burn, as long as you're just drinking it with the wish inside. But we might try it this year because it's the last New Year's in this apartment. It would be a fun thing to do. And yeah, we might be doing that. We also started watching the Soviet movies, so we're cooking and watching. That's how we used to do with my family. Usually that would happen much later in the day. Like now it's 3:30. We would do it around like 6-7 p.m. But since we're having an earlier dinner this year, since our friend is coming, we decided that we will start watching it early. It's a great movie. It's very funny. The music is amazing. And I have a website. It's like available on YouTube, I think. It's in Russian but with English subtitles. So and they're pretty good. So it's not YouTube's translation. It's an actual translation. So if you're interested, I'll link it down below, and you can watch it as well if you want to. The movie has 2 parts, though. That's something to keep in mind. I'll link both of them down. It's quite long together. They're like about 3 hours, but it's a great movie, and I think you'll enjoy it. Oh, and one other thing, I turned off the camera and then I remembered. So with the eggs, I'm doing 3 eggs, and we need to boil them thoroughly. We want to make sure that they are fully solid inside, because we're gonna cut them into the salad, and we don't want any of the egg yolk like spilling and being liquid. Okay, so I cleaned the vegetables, I peeled the skin off, and I'm gonna start cutting them and putting them in a bowl. I'm making a big one, so it depends on how much you make of it, so you can see how many ingredients you need. God, I feel like I'm turning into a culinary blog, but I have to share that. You don't have to cook the salad, but I love it, and it's so exciting. I haven't felt that excited about New Year's for a while, so I wanted to share some of my traditions. Now, basically, you'll need to cut all of the vegetables. Just do like small squares, kind of cubes. It doesn't have to be super small, but they have to be like pretty small. And then also, not everybody uses chicken, so original recipe doesn't have chicken in it. I don't know how you call that product in English. It's kind of like, in Russian we call it vareная колбаса, which is basically boiled колбаса. Kind of like a meat product, probably looks similar to a hot dog if it was more of like a pinkish color, but in my family we make it with chicken. Sometimes we also add a little bit of beef, but I decided to do just chicken this year. So yeah, you don't have to make it with chicken. It can be with that product if you can find it. In Russian stores, the deli sections have pretty good ones, but I just prefer chicken. And now let's cut the cucumbers and pickles. Try to take pickles without the vinegar. They will be much better. So just regular salted water, garlic, dill maybe, and then 2 regular cucumbers. I take 2 of the pickles. You might need a little bit more. So I cut the eggs, and then I added canned peas. I used like half of the can. It wasn't super big. So now we need to make the sauce. It's gonna be half of sour cream and half of mayonnaise. The original recipe says just mayo, but I don't like it a lot, so we are doing half sour cream, half mayo. And after that, you can just add salt, pepper. Just be careful with salt since you have pickles in there, and your salad is ready.
Такая же улица, такой же дом, вот такая квартира. Иначе я никогда бы не был счастлив.
Мы никогда не были бы счастливы.
Иначе мы никогда бы не были счастливы.
So today's January 1st and I'm finally done with the series. Oh my god, this video was long. And I have to say that the last book had quite an interesting twist that I didn't expect at all, and I really enjoyed it. So in this final book, Cal will have to finally encounter his memories of an enemy of death, and he will also have to prove that he's loyal to the Magisterium and the Assembly and fight the mage that was devoured by chaos. And the twist was really interesting, actually. I did not expect that one in particular. And it was cool, but I just don't know if it makes sense to read the first 4 books just for, you know, the one big twist in book 5. As I said before, the series is okay, but it's definitely not going to be one of my favorites, and I'm not going to keep it on my shelves. But it's a fun story to read during holidays, and yeah, I would recommend it if you just want something super easy to read and not to follow the plot super intensely, just to relax with. And then also, one more thing, my husband got me a New Year's gift, which is the Kinder Egg series of Harry Potter Funko Pop figurines. And I'll show you all of them. There are 12. I was super excited because I was trying to find the whole series in the Kinder Eggs that I was buying, and I could only find 1 figurine out of 12. And then the series was not, that Kinder Egg series was not in the stores anymore, so I was very upset. And my husband found the whole collection and got it for me, which I'm super excited about. I'll show you the figurines in a second, but thank you for watching this super long Christmas video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you've been reading during the holidays, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.